Hello my friends, my name is Marc Flint, but for over 30 years everybody just calls me Flint or Captain, especially since I live here on Treasure Island for almost 3 years now. Wow, unbelievable. Childhood dream to live on Treasure Island. Yippee! So I just wanted to tell you a bit about the Synconomy, what it is, what it means, why it comes now, and how you can use it to plan your own future and purpose and dreams. So let me tell you a bit about the background of the Synconomy. In 2000, end of 1999, I had something that is normally in English called existential crisis, but in German we have a much better word for that. It's called Sinnkrise, that means purpose crisis. Sinn is the German word for purpose and meaning, so it's a much better term for something where you ask yourself what you're here for, what's your purpose in life, what's the meaning of your life, and what should you do, where should you go, and what's the reason behind all that. And it took me a long time to figure this out, but back then I was pretty successful in advertising and marketing for over 11 years already. I had married the wrong girl and I had left everything. Advertising, Hamburg, my ex-wife. So I was sitting in a little cabin at a lake, early 2000, and thought about my life. And I was 31 at that time, and I tried to figure out what I'm there for. So I had a long thought process and feeling process about what I had accomplished until then, and what I like to do, what I love to do, what my talents are, and what feels right, okay? And I came up with nothing. It was such a desolate time and such a hopeless and time without perspective, so to speak, right? I had left everything, so I had no money in the bank anymore. I had no clients anymore. I had left everything, so it was really ground zero and to start anew. And I thought, okay, what is the reason why I wanted to leave this old life in advertising and marketing? And back then in the 80s and 90s, it was always like bragging and lying and superlatives and everything had to be the greatest and the biggest and and I thought, this is not what I'm here for. I don't want to lie to people. I don't want to brag and to make false promises that I can't keep, or the products I do advertising for. And this led me to the feeling that I don't want to be a liar. I don't want to trick people out of their money. So I thought perhaps there's a bigger meaning behind this. And perhaps I'm one of the first, but I'm definitely not the only guy who doesn't like to trick people, who doesn't want to lie and to be somebody who's not a force for good, right? So I thought about how would I envision a better economy, a better marketing. And in this cabin were only 3 books, and 2 of them were about fishing. And the third one was by a guy called Erich Fromm, and it's called From Having to Being. And I read this book, and it was from the 1950s or 60s, and I was totally inspired by his visions of a better communication, of a better working together, of a better economy and society. And the subline of this book even said, "Ways out of a sick society." I was totally mesmerized by this new thought that was so in tune with my own thoughts. So I thought, okay, I have the time, I don't have anything else to do, so perhaps I should create a vision of a better economy, a human-centric economy, an honest economy, and a marketing that is fun and authentic and transparent and inclusive and sustainable and holistic. Yeah, back in 2000. And I had no idea how to get the horsepower on the street, because back then everybody was just earning money in their first Lambos. It was startup times, it was new market times, new economy times, and it still didn't collapse, right? That came late 2001, that the whole new economy collapsed because of greed, of course. But back then, yuppie times, right? Everybody was the greatest, everybody just wanted to have their first Porsches. So I didn't know how to create this vision, how to communicate it, how to spread it. And then a university in Berlin called me and asked me if I could teach students how to create radio commercials. And I had done that for a long time for the first German television program. So I knew how to do it, but I didn't want to do old marketing and just production stuff. So I said, yeah, I could, but I won't. Yeah, could you teach online marketing? That was also brand new back then. And I said, yeah, I could, but nah, thank you. And then they asked me the magical question, what would you like to teach? I mean, when I was 17, I went to the army to get out of the countryside I lived in in my childhood and teenage years. So I never was on a college, I never was on a university, and now a university asked me if I would want to teach there. So I thought, okay, I will come up with something, and I created an own class called Marketing 2010, so 10 years ahead. And of course I included all the new techniques. Back then I was the first in Europe who taught guerrilla marketing that was very fresh, viral marketing, mobile marketing, when the mobile phones still were not smartphones, they were just dark green, yellow green displays, right? And everybody thought I mean text with marketing, mobile marketing. No, I said in 10 years, video, big, moving, right? So 4C. And everything else, I have to turn around here. Everything else was just visionary marketing, future marketing, right? I created an own class with 15 subclasses. Some of these techniques I invented myself, like multi-sensual marketing and quantum marketing and neural marketing, and called it mind marketing. And in 2001 I wrote an article about the year 2020, so even more ahead. And in this article, in German unfortunately, but I will translate it someday. So in this article, there I predicted the iPhone that came 6 years later. I called it Omnicom. I really described it in detail. Smart homes, cryptocurrencies, 3D printers, I call them 3D faxes, and all these other very science fiction stuff that is so normal now, like interactive displays and individualized advertising and so on. All this in this one article in 2001. So this class that I gave them in the university for 5 semesters not only inspired my students, of which some of them are still in contact with me, like Diana in Kuala Lumpur, hi, if you see this. But also it inspired me, because back then there was no Google like it is today, and it was tough to explore and research the future. What is so easy now was really hard back then. But it inspired me, and it showed me my new purpose in life: teaching the future and showing people, young people, how to prepare for that. And I had the idea that if I can, my same year-olds, like the yuppies of those days, I can't inspire them. Not really, because they are just this Gordon Gekko mindset, right? Greed is good. But I thought, if I can inspire the managers of tomorrow and overmorrow, then I can make a difference. Then I can teach them my visions of a human-centric, fair, nice, fun-making, authentic, transparent marketing and society and economy. And then I can make a difference in their lives, but also in the economy, with a ripple effect of them treating their customers differently, their employees and their investors and their bosses and their jobs and their assignments and so on. And that was one of the best ideas of my life. Really, I'm really proud of that, because it showed me what my purpose is, but it also showed my students what their purpose could be, right? And back then, in 2002, a movie started in the cinemas where I was a stuntman in the first Spider-Man movie. And on the day of the premiere of Spider-Man, I gave a speech to 400 of my students, and at the end of my speech I told them what every coach tells you today, but back then it was really new, it was really unheard of. Make your dreams come true. I know it works, and the future needs your dreams, because everything that is around us was once a dream in the mind and the heart of somebody else, right? Otherwise this thing wouldn't have come into being. So your dreams matter, your purpose matter, your future matters. Let me show you how that goes. And then I showed this photo of Spider-Man and me, took on the set a year before in Downey, California, where we filmed the Times Square scene where I exploded with a car. Yeah, so they were totally inspired by that, and that set my life on a totally new course, how I could matter, how I could live my purpose. Okay, so that was the beginning of what I called back then the purpose economy, and for the next 20 years I taught it in my 36 books, in my speeches and workshops and coachings, and so on and so on. I gave my best in articles, in newsletters and so on. So, but it didn't lift off, because I think now that people are just evolving, they are just developing. If the pain of evolvement, yeah, of evolution is lower, the pain of change is lower than the pain of just keeping it as it is, right? Oh. Treasure Island life. Beautiful, huh? Wow. We'll give that to a child there. So, yeah, but it was really difficult, because people don't change if they don't have to. At least back then, and it was all despite financial crisis or so. People didn't suffer enough, I think. But now, with a recession and inflation and Ukraine war and Corona and so on, people started to rethink their life and their purpose and their work and their jobs and their dreams, everything, right? So I thought, okay, perhaps now it's time to wreck this up, to really find out how to teach them a better way. And then in summer 2022, here for you. Nice, huh? It's for you, it's a gift. Yeah, it's for you. Can keep it, keep it. A friend of mine sent me an article about an event with some very famous German philosopher, and he spoke about the purpose economy. No, that was me. The purpose society. So, and everybody said, yeah, that's right, we are moving there, and work society, income society is over. So I thought, okay, now it's mainstream, what I'm teaching for 20 years now. Time for the next phase. And immediately I knew what would come and what would be next. On that same day I had the idea for the name, the Synconomy, the synergistic economy, the economy of working together. And I also thought, okay, then the first 10 years of this century made us to more conscious consumers. Yeah, that was the sustainability craze in 2010 that I also taught about in 2000 already, sustainability. 10 years later, now, the purpose economy came into being by new tools like social media and blogs and YouTube channels, and everybody became a creator, right? Everybody was a coach and a course creator and a YouTube channel owner and a membership starter and some Etsy producer and a TikTok video creator and so on and so on. So we became from consumers to producers, and I think the next phase, the third phase, now that we know how to monetize our own purpose, most of us are still learning that, the next phase is that we don't do it alone anymore. That we really learn how to work together, how to support each other, how to be of value for other people, even if we don't get any money for that, right? Just for the fun and the bliss of working together, of learning, of connecting with people we wouldn't have met otherwise, and so on. That is the Synconomy. And in 2018 I created a system while I was living in a Buddhist monastery in Thailand on the border to Laos, to Myanmar. And I created this system called Futurbo, the turbo into the future, where you find out who you are today, who you want to be tomorrow, on the one side. On the other side, who are the persons you want to have around you in the future? Where are they today? Who are they? What are their concerns, their problems, their struggles, their questions? Where do you find them? How do you start this relationship? And how can you support them and solve their problems? And then, so the outside world, the other people today, and then the other world tomorrow, right? The future. World today, world tomorrow. And in the middle, the synergy between our worldview and what we offer and the other people. Because for the other people, we are the other people, okay? Once we learn that only if the success and the happiness of other people matters as much as our own, to the world, to the future, to our dreams, then we can really evolve beyond this, I'm the greatest, buy my shit, buy my course, buy my whatever, right? So this is the next phase. That's the third phase of the human-centric economy, and that's why it matters. That's why it really matters that we evolve beyond the point of our own interests, our own income, our own customers, our own creations. We have to evolve. We have to relearn, because it was in earlier centuries it was that way, that we respected, valued and appreciated the otherness, the uniqueness of other people as much as our own. Right? In little villages there was just one smith and one baker and one guy who repaired the saddles and so on, right? Highly respected, masters in their craft, and yeah, so the one supported the other and appreciated and valued their unique talents and skills, and they helped each other out. So I think we have an opportunity here to create this on a global scale. It will take time, and there will be, of course, some resistance, because people just change if the change is inevitable, right? But you will all see that more and more people wake up to these ideas. Like 10 years ago, they woke up to the idea of sustainability. And another 10 years went by, tools were created, ways were created, that we woke up to the idea of making the best of our talents and creating something of value for other people. Now we are at a point where we can't do it alone. We have to connect, we have to do it together, synergistically, support each other, and so on. And that is the Synconomy. That is my vision of this human-centric economy that I had 20 years ago. Back then I couldn't imagine how the purpose economy would be, where we are now, where people create something of value, like courses and coachings and memberships and so on, clubs and YouTube channels and Instagram inspiration and so on, for other people, and earn money with it, right? We weren't there 10 years ago, and especially not 20 years ago, so I couldn't imagine how it would look like, but I knew it would come. And as much I know that the Synconomy will come. I don't know how it will look like in 10 years in the metaverse and on Mars, whatever, right? But I know it will come, because it's the next logical phase of a human-centric economy, that we work together to solve our big problems, like climate change and wars and conflicts and droughts and whatever comes next, right? New viruses because the pole caps melted and so on. So we will survive this, we will thrive, we will work together. It has to be done. We have to change and we have to work together. So it will come, okay? If we learn this ahead of time, ahead of that it must be, then we can position ourselves as the game changers, the terraformers, the people who really make a difference in the next years. We won't become obsolete by AI or by robotics or automation. No, because we understand that these are also just tools we can use to connect even better with other communities, with other countries, with other situations, and be of value no matter what we do, what we are there for, what our dreams are, okay? I have learned so much over the last 20 years of this vision of a purpose economy, so to speak, that now evolves into the Synconomy, that I'm now ready to share this with you, and I can't wait to see you inside our trainings, our webinars, our live events and so on. So if you're inspired now by the new form of working together, thriving together, solving problems, just go to www.synconomy.com. See you there, just take a look around and we will meet. I'm sure that online, offline, wherever on this planet, and I'm there for you. Really, reach out. I'm not a guru who counts the money in the background. No, I'm there for you. And if you contact me on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, I don't care. I'm here for you. And I want you to thrive. I want you to give value. I want you to step up to our responsibility. Because if you want to have a better life tomorrow, you have to make better decisions today. And for these better decisions, you need a better mindset, a better heart set, and a better soul set. And that's why the Synconomy.com platform will support you with a future coach, training program, with a purpose club community, and with a dream school of showing you exactly how to make big life dreams come true, like living on the best island in the world during pandemic times, or other dreams I've made true, like acting in a Hollywood movie, becoming a stuntman, being in Spider-Man, meeting Stan Lee, and so on. So, okay, let's connect. Let's make the future better than the past, because that is our purpose, that is our obligation, that is our responsibility. Okay? Together we can do it. Together we can make the world a better place. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I'm glad you're here, I'm glad you are you, and I can't wait to meet you. Until then, best of luck with great wishes and regards from Treasure Island. Your Captain Flint. Over and out.